ask what Juneteenth means to me, I consider what my enslaved ancestors may have felt after learning they were free 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. I'm sure they were relieved and jubilant to some extent. This isn't to say that the road was easier, because we all know that was not the case, as systems were built and laws were passed to make life challenging for formerly enslaved people. So while we still have work to do, Juneteenth is a celebration. We celebrate, we fellowship, we encourage, we pray, we instill hope, we motivate, we inspire, we hold one another accountable, we incite positive change, and we share love.
Juneteenth represents education for me. It was never discussed in school when I was growing up. In fact, I learned about it around the dinner table with family. As a child, I would always question why key events like this were excluded from education. I'm really glad that events like this and other key events are getting the exposure that they deserve.
For me, Juneteenth is important for many different reasons, such as acknowledgement of a time in our country that can no longer be ignored, acknowledgement of the enslaving of Black people. It's also a time for reflection on the steps towards progress that has been made. And lastly, it's a time for celebration of the shift in our climate and our culture, a call to action, if you will, where people will no longer remain silent when it concerns social injustice, which will continue to have a major impact on civil rights forever.
For me, Juneteenth is really about three things. It's about survival, hope, and perseverance. Survival really is about surviving, one of the most tragic things to ever happen in humankind, which is slavery. But at the same time, it's about hope, hoping and knowing and believing that things could be better, that they can change, and that the future could be brighter. And I think because of that hope, it's really about perseverance. And I think that courage to really persevere and continue to fight until that dream is really realized across the board is why we celebrate Juneteenth, because it reminds us to continue to fight, continue to push, continue to believe and have hope, and continue to survive, because it's worth it. And, that the dream can really be realized. So when I think about Juneteenth, that's why I celebrate, and that's really what it means to me.